Let's face it, 2025 has been a ruthless year for altcoin investors as they've sat on the sidelines and watched Bitcoin's price push up towards all-time highs, while altcoins like Solana, ETH, XRP, and many more have struggled to gain any traction at all. And as a result of this, many of you have asked me, Tyler, what is going on with the altcoin market and why are things so dead? How is it that Bitcoin's price could be pushing up to all-time highs and we're seeing so much good news every single day, yet altcoins are simply just not doing anything? And in today's video, I want to do my best to answer that question. I'm going to tell you why exactly I believe that the altcoin market is not performing that great this year, and especially within the last month, and what I'm expecting going forward. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at individual altcoins like ETH, Solana, XRP, and more, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm seeing from them and what I'm watching very closely on each one of their charts. So we have a good bit to get into today, so don't forget to smash that like button if you do enjoy today's video, and let's get into it. So I think this is a great representation of what the altcoin markets looked like basically the whole year. For the most part, things have been down with a few random cryptos doing okay, right? We got SUI and KAS, right? We got Pingu, we got Syrup, we got Fartcoin, Arrow, BCH. We got these ones doing okay, but most are not. While Bitcoin's price is currently sitting right under $109,000 near all-time highs, most other altcoins are just not doing well. I mean, look at Trump, right? Look at Trump coin. Just on the month, this thing is down over 20%. And that is a common theme for most altcoins. And so kind of with this in mind, I want to answer the first question, which is why are altcoins just not doing well? It's a question that many of you have asked me, and I think the answer is very easy, okay? So what you have to understand is that Bitcoin and altcoins do not pump based on all of the same things. Sometimes they do. For example, there's some really good news in the US economy. It will likely cause not only Bitcoin's price to go up, but altcoin prices to go up because they are in many ways intertwined, as they are both cryptocurrencies. But they do have some of their own differentiating catalysts, right? And what I mean by that, and the reason I'm saying this, is that why Bitcoin is going up right now is not going to cause altcoins to go up. The reason why Bitcoin's price is going up is because we are finally seeing mass adoption of Bitcoin amongst major governments, major companies, and major entities, right? So we're obviously thinking the US, we're obviously thinking BlackRock, we're also thinking just some of your smaller entities across the, across the world. Now, these entities, companies, and governments are now accumulating Bitcoin at rates higher than we've ever seen before. They're drying up the supply, and as their demand continuously stays even or increases, that is naturally going to cause Bitcoin's price to go up as Bitcoin becomes more scarce and more valuable. So why Bitcoin's price is going up is very simple. Big things, big people are buying a lot of it from small people who are frustrated, right? And so that's going to cause Bitcoin's price to go up and or stabilize even in downtimes in the world. Now, this isn't going to just magically cause altcoins to go up. Many people think it does, or it would, because in their brains, they would say, okay, well, if Bitcoin's going to go up, that's going to drain liquidity from Bitcoin into altcoins. But that's only true if the people who are making gains on Bitcoin are then taking profits from Bitcoin and funneling those profits into altcoins, which people are not doing right now. Because the people who are causing it to go up and making the most gains are more stable people, right? These big entities aren't just making moves. They're not just day trading a ton. No, they're just going to buy this Bitcoin and just leave it alone for a very long time. So you're not going to see that variation. You're not going to see that variability, which is going to cause people to go from Bitcoin to ETH to Solana to SUI. That natural order flow is just not going to happen, right? And so Bitcoin's going up because of these institutions. These institutions are not interested for the most part in altcoins right now. You're not going to see altcoins doing well. So what does that mean? Well, it leaves it into the hands of the people. If it's like a 2021 situation where people like you and I are talking about and investing into altcoins could go up. But if you look at what we think about altcoins right now, we're not thinking about altcoins right now. At the time of recording, in comparison to 2021, we are currently about 16% of interest that we saw in 2021. That means if 100 people were talking about altcoins and crypto in 2021, only 16 of them are now talking about altcoins in 2025. And this is obviously causing a direct impact on the altcoin market. Because if no one cares about altcoins and institutions aren't buying altcoins, what do you think is going to make altcoins go up? Nothing will. One of the two has to change. People either need to start talking about altcoins and investing in altcoins, or institutions need to shift their focus into altcoins, causing them to start buying them, pushing their prices upwards. Now, I believe that it's just not the time for that to happen. I truthfully believe the reason why altcoins are not going up is because it's not time for them to go up yet. I think that there's a ton of uncertainty in the world. From macro political to geopolitical perspectives, there is a lot happening. There's tariffs, there's inflation, there's the job reports, there's our own economy. And again, that's just in our country. Outside of our country, in the US, obviously, there's things happening in the Middle East. There's still things happening in Russia, Ukraine. There's a lot occurring right now. And while all of this stuff is happening, while things are shaking, it's causing uncertainty, not only from a micro level, from a macro level. These major institutions, these major companies and governments, they're not going to be buying SUI. They're not going to be buying small altcoins because it's just not time yet. They're not willing to take that risk. Hell, they just got into Bitcoin. And so what they're doing is they're getting their feet wet. They're getting used to the crypto market. They're getting a deeper understanding of how it works through these summits and these conferences and things of that nature. And when the time comes that we are in a more risk-on environment, likely fueled by money printing, quantitative easing, and a higher injection of liquidity, like we're seeing from M2 money supply growth, then we'll likely see those institutions shift their gears. They'll start buying these altcoins, pushing their prices upwards, which will cause excitement that'll then have retail investors come back, because retail investors always come back too late, right? That's what I think is going to happen. It's just not time for that to happen yet. And so, no, it doesn't mean that altcoins will never come back. It just means it's not time for altcoins to perform well. Everybody's looking at it like altcoins just aren't doing good. It doesn't make sense. Bitcoin's doing good. Alts aren't doing good. Altcoin market dead. Altcoin market never come back. But they're not objectively thinking about whether or not it should come back right now. And it's just not time. Okay. So with that in mind, and knowing that it's not time, knowing that it's not the greatest moment for altcoins to do well, what I do want to do, though, is I want to show you what is happening from altcoin charts like ETH, Solana, SUI, XRP, ADA, and many more. And the reason I want to show you that is because things are developing right now. Because listen, altcoins don't just sit around. They don't just sit back and watch what's happening. They don't watch the parade go by. No. When you look at these alts and you actually look at what they're doing, they're preparing themselves for moves, right? The altcoins that we're going to talk about today are clear as day, showing that especially in the last month, they're preparing for something. They're making big, big, big decisions that I think imply that that time that we're hoping for could be coming. It could be coming. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean here in a second. So let's go ahead and let's start talking about things like ETH, Solana, SUI, and many more. And before we get into that, guys, do not forget that if you do want to start trading some of these cryptos today on what could be 500x to 100x to 50x to 10x, whatever levers that you would like, check out the link down in the description below. It's going to take you over to BTCC, which is where I do over 90% of my trading these days. And if you sign up specifically with my link, you're going to get up to $10,000 just by signing up and depositing. I'm not fibbing. It is up to $10,000, which is absolutely insane. And you're going to get up to 40% lower trading fees. Those of you who know trading know how good of a deal this is. So check out that link down below. In this video, I'll explain to you the perks that you'll get. In this video, I'll walk you through the platform so you can see what it looks like, okay? So feel free to check out that down below. And again, let's dive into it. So the primary focus the primary anchor point that I'm going to use throughout my entire analysis of all of these individual altcoins is, again, the idea that massive decisions are being made right now. And what does that mean? Well, it means that ETH, Solana, SUI, and many more are doing things that imply that they're preparing for a big move. What direction that goes in? Obviously, we don't know. It depends on what happens in the market. It depends on if we do go into money printing or not. It depends on all those things, but I can show you what that decision translates into whenever you're looking at a technical perspective, especially for those of you who are trading. So whenever we look at ETH is at a massive decision point. ETH has a massive decision point that sits currently between $2,781 and $2,240. This is the decision point. And the reason why I say that this is the decision point is quite simply just what history has showed us. Every single time that ETH has interacted with this level of support or resistance, or even come close to it, a massive decision has been made that's impacted ETH for months and to come. So what do you see here? ETH's price goes up and it breaks above this key level of, this is when it established it as a decision point right here. This is when the liquidity was created, okay? And then it pushes back above it, it comes back down, finds the support, continues upwards for a month up towards new all-time highs. The next time, though, that it goes down to it, it fails to hold it as support, it can't get enough momentum, and then it enters into its bear market. So this level, for many regards, is what triggered the bear market to really go into full effect the second that we lost support here. Now, through the bear market, we had a couple times that we tried to get close. close to the decision point, but we failed to break close to it or into it. We failed there, pushing ETH's price down for months after. But on this attempt, we finally pushed into it, breaking above it, pushing ETH to new highs, of course, seeing its price push up towards $4,000. It came back down to it, it built that support, it continued up for another week or two, pushing back up towards that $4,000 high. Same thing here, got rejected off of it, looking pretty good. Now, of course, towards August of 2024, it fell back in it, but the bulls did step in, they held this level of support and used that to push back up towards this high again, pushing ETH up towards $4,000. And next thing you know, ETH tries to hold it here, it fails and sends it, nukes all the way down. We're talking a 40% drop for ETH's price the second that it lost support here. And then lastly, fast forwarding all the way to today, ETH's price uses this support to continue upwards, and it has now entered back into the decision-making range, the decision point. And so while you may be sat back thinking ETH just isn't doing anything, nothing interesting is happening for ETH, it's boring, they couldn't be further from the truth. What ETH's price decides to do right here will have a direct impact on the direction that ETH goes for what could be the next couple months, if not the next year or the rest of this year. I think if ETH gets rejected here, there's a reason to believe it might come back down to $1,500 to $1,400 to attempt the double bottom, but very possibly fall even below that to come back down towards some of these bear market lows. I think that's well within reason because this would be a huge letdown for the market. But if ETH's price is capable of breaking above this decision point and push through it, I think it is well within reason that ETH's price can push back up towards this big target high point again at $4,000. And so while, again, you may be thinking ETH isn't doing anything, I'm looking at this like, holy crap, ETH is about to make a massive decision on what direction it's probably going to go in for weeks or months at a time. We should be watching this incredibly closely. So do you see what I mean? It's like while all of this stuff is transpiring and while it's not time in the macro perspective for altcoins, things are still happening like this for ETH. So what would I do if I was you and I was worried about ETH? I would put a price label on the top side of this zone. I'd put a price label on the bottom side of this zone, and I would kick off my shoes, grab my popcorn, go buy a dog, train it how to pee outside, and just wait. Okay. And in the meantime, just wait, because when ETH makes this move, that's when we'll know what's going on. That's when the action will happen. But until then, let it play out. Moving along to Solana. Solana, very, very, very similar situation as ETH, just a little bit different. What is Solana doing? Well, Solana's price has entered into a bit of a range. What we can see is that Solana's price has worked itself all the way back up from death itself. This thing was a decrepit old man of Solana, but it worked itself back. It drank from the fountain of youth, pushing all the way back up to $262, kissing that all-time high on the lips before pulling all the way back down towards $100. Okay. Now, after seeing this pullback, after seeing this rejection, Solana's just trying to make a decision. That's all it's trying to do as well. Is it going to continue back up past that all-time high or not? Because this whole move was up until this point right here. This whole move was to just get Solana back to its all-time high. That's all the goal was. That's all it cared about. And since then, what it's trying to decide right now is, do I now say, okay, that's it, I got my goal, I got up to the all-time high, now we're going to go down for a while? Or is it, let me come back down and find some support, use this support to try to push me continuously back upwards? Was this just a pullback, or was this the end of the run? That's the question that Solana's trying to answer. That's the decision that's trying to get made. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a horizontal line right here. We're going to draw a horizontal line because we're going to focus on just what is happening right here, because this is where the decision at. Again, remember, this was all just to get up to this. That's all this was. And now that it happened, now it's trying to determine what comes next. This is like a what comes next type of phase. This is like a midlife crisis for Solana. Okay. And so what's happening? Well, it's quite clear. Solana's price pulled back. It came back down to a key level of support. As you can see, this previous point of liquidity, we've come here multiple times. We came here right here. We had this liquidity here. We're back here. Okay. And now it's stuck between two golden Fibonacci zones. Now, I know that might sound confusing to some of you who are maybe a little bit newer to crypto, but just know there's a way in which you can look at where some massive levels of resistance and support are. They're called golden Fibonacci zones. I'll explain it later on. But for now, just understand that this yellow box is what's called a golden Fibonacci zone. It rests between two massive golden Fibonacci levels, and it's very important. Okay. And what we can see is that to the upside, the golden Fibonacci zone is between 191 and 232. To our downside, Solana's golden zone is resting between $123 and $110. And at this exact moment, all Solana is doing is trying to figure out which one of these it's going to break. That's all it's doing. Look, I'm going to just draw these on. I'm going to delete everything else. Okay, hold on one second. Let's get rid of that. Now, okay, let's delete our Fibonacci's. That's all it's doing. Look, now you can see it. Now you can quite clearly see it. Solana's price ran up to the golden zone, got rejected, came down to the golden zone, got rejected, and now it's just stuck here. So what's Solana deciding? Which one does it break? Which one does it break? Does it lose the golden zone and open up the door for what could be a move to your Fibonacci extension levels, which would mean Solana's price could fall all the way to $79 or $63? Or does it break above the Fibonacci golden zone to the top side and then open up the door for which, of course, could be a move up to, let's look at this. For Solana, that could be a move to $400 or $500. Do you see how big of a decision that is? How big of a difference that is? Now imagine trying to convince me that just nothing is happening with Solana just because its price is going sideways. Just because its price is going sideways doesn't mean that nothing's happened or that nothing is happening. It means that a massive decision is being made, and the decision is so massive that it's taking a lot of time. There's a difference. Okay, there's a difference. And so when I look at Solana, I draw on my 2 Fibonacci golden zones and I just wait. I just wait. And I know no one wants to hear that. Tyler, stop telling me to wait. But the truth is, if you cannot wait, you cannot win. I'm not just saying that that's the truth. Look at the history of crypto. How much time do we spend with Bitcoin actually going up? Let's look at the weeks. We had this little phase of it's going up. Look, I'll just draw in the moments where Bitcoin's price was actually going up. There you go. Look at how much waiting that needs to be done before you can see growth. If you can't wait, you can't win. If you can't wait, go find something else to do. If you can't wait, you can't win. Okay. And so where am I at with Solana? I'm waiting. I'm wanting to see what decision is made here. Is this a cup and handle? Is it possible? Can we get the Hail Mary from the technical analysis gods and give us the cup and handle that Giga sends us up to 500? Is that possible? Or are we about to get slapped down the stairs by grandma because we forgot the cookies in the oven? And next thing you know, we're heading back down to $60. What's going to happen? I don't know. I have no idea. I think it's more likely that we're going to turn the money printers on in the United States. We're going to see a huge injection of liquidity as M2 money supply is increasing. We're going to continue to see the economy enter into a bit of a place, enter into quantitative easing, and that will, of course, allow institutions to get more risk on, which will allow them to invest into altcoins, which will start to bring more interest to altcoins. People will get interested in them again. We'll see this go up, and then Solana will go up. That's what I think is going to happen, but it's just a guess. I don't know. Next, SUI. I'm going to start to speed run a little bit, okay? Because you get the premise. What is SUI doing? SUI's price made a fantastic, impeccable move all the way up to its all-time high, right? We saw SUI go to $5.36. What happened after that was that SUI's price came all the way back down. It got rejected off of this key level of support, right? We have this previous point of resistance. It's now trying to flip that resistance into support. So it's bouncing, okay? So what happened with SUI is SUI set the all-time high. It came back down, and now it's deciding, just like Solana, okay, am I going to try to continue this run? Is this a pullback or is this the end of the run? That's what SUI's trying to decide right now. And so it's holding up support on top of this previous point of resistance, just right here. Again, resistance to support, and is getting rejected off of what? Off of the golden zone, my friends. This stuff is not coincidence. This stuff is just what happens, okay? What we can see here is that it's now using this previous point of resistance, bouncing off the support, and running into the golden zone. And so guess what I'm doing? Do I need to tell you what I'm doing? I'm waiting. The decision for SUI right now is it going to be able to hold support above $1.99 and use that support to continue upwards to break through this golden zone and attempt to make a move to $7.60 or $11.40? Or is it going to come back down, lose this key level support, and then likely head back down to what could be as low as $1.95, anywhere down here? There are massive implications that will be decided depending on if SUI can break this golden zone to the top side or not, which currently ranges between 350 and 430. Okay, so all I'm doing right now is I'm laying out my golden zone. Watch this. Laying out my golden zone. Boom. I'm laying out my support level, and let's go ahead and make it red as a support, right? I'm deleting everything else. Just waiting and watching. And I'm seeing what happens. Will SUI give us again the Hail Mary from the crypto gods and break out of this, causing some sort of cup and handle or maybe some sort of Adam and Eve on a monthly chart? Or is it going to lose support here, let people down, and come all the way back down towards 95 cents, opening up for some really good accumulation opportunities? But obviously that's going to take a while before it rallies after that, right? Probably into next year. So that's the question that SUI's trying to answer. That's the question that we're trying to answer. So I'm just waiting to find out what happens there next. Now, I will say, if anything that I'm saying in this video seems complicated, confusing, or just over complex by any capacity, what I want you to do is I want you to head to the link down below, and I want you to go get early access to the crypto playbook. Okay, early access. Now, it's pre-launch access, and what this means is that in 19 days, I'm going to be releasing what's called the crypto playbook, which is going to be your manual that you can use every single day when you're investing and trading crypto. This is going to be a manual or a playbook that goes over technical analysis, fundamental analysis, crypto safety, market manipulation, leverage trading. I mean, anything you can think of, I'm going to be stuffing this book with. There's going to be videos, there's going to be modules, there's going to be lessons. I mean, so much stuff over the coming months. And it's releasing in 19 days. And if you sign up down below, guys, this is a free playbook, by the way. I forgot to mention this. It's completely for free. I'm not charging a dime for it. I'm just giving it to you so you can understand my videos better. If you do go sign up, I'm going to send you 2 of the quick little lessons from the playbook today for you to check out. Okay. I think that's a great deal. It's for free. And I'm not talking about fake free, like fake YouTube free. I mean, it's actually free. You're just going to get it. Okay. And that comes out in 19 days. So head to the link down below. Go check that out. Let me know what you think. Okay. So let's move into XRP. XRP is going to be an easy one. This isn't going to take very long at all. If you're an XRP holder, what you need to be looking for is XRP's price to break out of this descending structure. That's all that you should be doing right now. Now, you may say, well, Tyler, it's had this descending structure and it tried to break out right here and it failed, and it tried to break out right here and it failed. So this structure is kind of freaky to me, right? I'm not quite sure that this structure is a good representation of it. Okay, well, let's do this. What I'm going to say is that if you want to know what to do with XRP right now, if you want to be really confident on what's happening with XRP, I want you to go to this button. I want you to click the arrow and come down to parallel channel. I want you to click this low that it made on December 9th, and I want you to connect that low to these couple lows right here. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to go up. You're just going to go up, and then you're going to go to the side and make sure everything stays connected. That's what XRP is doing. XRP is creating a resetting, or a descending channel. How do I explain this? So there are descending channels that are resetting the move, right? And these are called bull flags. So you have a really big move upwards, then you reset back downwards in a descending channel. That's oftentimes called a bull flag. I call them like a resetting descending channel because they can't always be bull flags, but you get the point. Okay. So whenever I look at XRP, it's quite simple. There's not much needed to be said here. XRP will never see gains until it breaks out of this descending channel. I think that's clear as day. That's me saying it won't go up until it goes up. But if you want to know at what point XRP will open the door, at what point XRP will break out, at what point you can start getting excited, it's when it breaks out of the descending channel. I think there will be a day where XRP breaks above this descending level of resistance. And I think when that day comes, XRP is going to put in dozens of percentages in gains. I don't know how much in gains because I don't know when it'll happen. If it broke out right here, obviously I would assume that XRP could return easily to $3, if not back to $3.40. I would say that if XRP just did this, I think it's well within reason XRP can get back up towards these regional highs, if not even higher, okay? But let's say, for example, if XRP did this, well, things might start getting a little bit more complicated, and maybe $3 is the max, right? And it's going to take a lot more time. So I'm not going to try to guess how far up XRP will go if it breaks out of this until we get the breakout. But what I will say is that if you want to know what XRP is doing, if you're sitting here saying XRP's dead, XRP's boring, XRP's not doing anything, look at this. That's not true. XRP is resetting all of its macro indicators. Look. XRP got extremely overextended here. It put in this high, giving us higher highs while setting blatant lower highs here on its RSI, which is bearish divergence. It means that XRP lost a lot of momentum the second it put in this high right here, and it had to reset. And now it's reset all the way back down to the 50% threshold, which is the same threshold that's held its price up several times historically. And it's now trying to use this descending channel to reset those indicators to eventually try to make the move upwards. The question is, will it run here? Will it need to come back down one more time and then run then? When does this breakout happen? Not if this breakout happens. I think there's an over 85% chance that XRP's price breaks out of this descending channel. So I do think it's a matter of when. The question is, or it's a matter of when, not if, right? And so when I look at XRP and when I wonder what's happening with XRP, I just look at this channel and I say, okay, XRP's still in the descending channel, so I'm still waiting. You could range trade it if you want. And if you want to range trade it, what that looks like is you buy anytime XRP is close to the bottom. You do a little bit of buying anytime it's bouncing off of the 50% line right here, and you take profits anytime it's near the top. If you want exact measurements, one thing that I like to do is this, okay? I'll go in, I'll make this channel green, and then what I'll do is I'll go halfway through the channel, and I'll draw one channel to the bottom side. I'll make that light green. I'll take another channel, and I'll do it at this halfway point. This is now the 25% threshold, and I'll make this dark green. And then what I'll do is I'll do the same thing at the top now. So I'll draw one more descending channel at the top side. I'll make this light red, and I'll take one more channel right here towards the top side to the 50% line, and I'll make this dark red. And what I'll do is I'll do a lot of selling anytime XRP is in the dark red, a little bit of selling anytime that it's in the light red. I'll do a little bit of buying anytime it hits the light green zone, and I'll do a lot of buying anytime it hits the dark green zone. And had you been just doing this, look at all the gains you would have made. Gains, 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 right? So that's what I would be doing with XRP, or just simply waiting. Not doing anything else, just simply waiting. We move onwards. ICP. ICP's not doing much. ICP's not looked that great. ICP's not really giving us the gains that we would have hoped for, especially whenever a lot of the rest of the crypto market perform much better. But ICP is not doing nothing, and that's what people keep saying. ICP's not doing anything. That's just not true. ICP's price put in some really bad lows right here in September of 2023 before absolutely rallying into 2024. But towards the end of 2024, especially going in towards summertime of 2024, it just started underperforming. And then, of course, December of 2024 came around. ICP gave us a bit of a rally. The rally didn't hold up. ICP continued lower, putting in, of course, this third wave to the downside. So as ICP has now started to balance out a little bit, and I think most people would agree, ICP has been going sideways recently. Everyone's just saying ICP's dead, nothing's happening. It's just not the case. What we can see is that ICP put in this low, it put in this high, which gives us a Fibonacci golden zone right here. And if I just draw in that Fibonacci golden zones box and I delete everything else, it's clear what ICP is doing. ICP's price is trying to determine if it's going to be able to come back down and hold this huge level of support. This is a massive level of support. One would say the most important level of support that ICP's ever been at. Because if ICP loses support here, which looks like $4.40, it's well within reason to assume that ICP's price might fall as low as $2.90 or lower. There is a world in which if ICP's price loses $4.40, that we may see ICP's price come all the way back down to some of these extension levels, which could imply ICP's price falling to $1.60 or 81 cents. So you think ICP's not doing something right now? It's saving itself from what could be a move down to $1. Okay, so I think a lot is happening. And if ICP is capable of successfully holding the support, it is totally reasonable to assume that its price may try to return back up towards what could be $8 to $10, over 200% gains. And so with all of this in mind, what ICP is doing right now is trying to hold macro support and determine whether or not it's going to balance here and continue upwards, or if it's going to take an absolute crap on all of its holders, pushing its price down possibly another 50, 60, 70%. So if you think that's nothing, well, I don't know what something is. And so if I'm an ICP holder, I'm taking my text box or my price label and I'm drawing it one at $6.11. I'm drawing one at $4.43, and I'm watching this close because whatever happens here will be the determining factor. We move on. CASPA. So when I look at CASPA, CASPA's a little bit more of an oddball. I'm not going to lie. CASPA's a little bit more of an oddball, but I'll try to give you my thoughts as to what is happening with CASPA. Okay. So when I look at CASPA, I look at a crypto that saw an absolutely massive rally up until 2024. And then in 2024, since it was moving during the bear market, like CASPA was outperforming everything in 2023. So then whenever everything starts doing well in 2024, it makes perfect sense for CASPA to slow down a bit. It makes perfect sense because people are rotating their gains from CASPA into other alts, which is going to cause CASPA to kind of slow down a little bit. So this little move here, everybody was screaming that this wasn't normal. This is very normal. Seeing a pump and then a sideways movement is normal. From there, of course, what we can see is that CASPA stayed going sideways up until January of 2025. And when the rest of the market took a crap and it started not doing so good, CASPA also took a crap and started not doing so good, pulling back down and trying to find some support on this previous level of resistance just right here, clear as day. Okay, so we had this previous point of resistance, CASPA used it as support, and then now, since of course March of 2025, is trying to use the support to make a decision. Okay, Tyler, what's that decision? The decision that CASPA is trying to make right now is whether or not it's going to work itself back into this accumulation zone, or sorry, what was the distribution zone, but into this sideways zone. Okay, you see this little zone that is currently ranging right between this, 9.6 cent mark and 20 cent mark. This box basically, CASPA is trying to work itself back in it. CASPA knows that if it can't get back in this zone, it's probably going to nuke, and it's probably going to get all the way dropped back down to what could be 1.5 cents. 1.8 cents, 2 cents, and I know no one wants to hear that, but it is the case. If CASPA can't get back in this red box soon, seeing a move of this nature to 2.5 cents, more than possible, way more than possible. And I think bulls are aware of that. And so what's happening right now is CASPA's price is trying to use this previous point of support to work itself up, and it's failed so far. It used the support, it got back into the zone, but it got rejected by the zone and pushed back downwards. And what you can see is just try to guess where CASPA's at right now. Shocker, shocker, golden Fibonacci zone. CASPA is trying to give us one more hoorah, one more last swing at a bat, bottom of the ninth, and it's trying to work itself back into this red box again. CASPA is making a decision right now of whether or not it's going to use this golden zone to try to force its way back up into the red box or not. Because if it fails this here, all it has below it is 5.5 cents. And losing 5.5 cents again could be devastating. It could be CASP's price going back to 4 cents, 3 cents, 2.5 cents. And I think it's very reasonable to assume that's what would happen. And so CASP right now is trying to use this golden zone to push back into the red box. And it's trying to use this support to get that kickstart. And if it can, that'd be great. Because if it can do that, this is some sort of Adam and Eve, janky cup and handle pattern, some sort of reversal pattern that could be the very thing CASP needed to try to push back up towards that all-time, or towards that all-time high, right around 20 cents, right around 16 cents back up here. So it is very possible that this could be the beginning of a beautiful move for CASPA. And so with that in mind, again, saying that nothing's happening is just not true. CASPA is clearly trying to make a massive decision that has massive implications of where its price goes, not only for a couple days, weeks, or months, but for what could be for the rest of this year, if not into next year as well. Okay. And so I think you're starting to understand where I'm getting at. The majority of the crypto market is trying to determine whether or not it's going to return. It has massive support and massive resistance levels, and most of these cryptos are bouncing in between those support and resistance levels, waiting on this market to tell it what's going to happen. Are we going to enter into a better political environment, a better geopolitical environment, a better economic environment that is going to allow for the money printer to turn on, quantitative easing to begin, kind of a reduction in fear and uncertainty in the market to allow people to start investing for that M2 money supply to actually find its way into crypto? Or is it not? Are things going to remain uncertain? Are they going to remain ugly? Are they going to get worse and cause this crypto market to dump and take altcoins really far down with it? That's the decision that's being made up top, and the decision is being reflected by the charts of each one of these cryptos within themselves. I think it's more likely that we return. I think it's more likely that all of these little issues right now work themselves out, that money printer turns on, that M2 money supply going up, find its way and find some liquidity into the altcoin market. People start getting excited again, and then we see retail interest jump back in, then we start to see altcoins rally. Is that an altcoin season? I don't know, but I do think that it could be a good time here in the market. I think that's more likely. I'd give that a 65% chance of happening, okay? But obviously we're all just waiting. And so whenever it feels like altcoins just aren't doing anything, it's just not true. They are making massive decisions. They are reflecting the massive things that are at stake from a more macro perspective right now. And it is up to us to monitor that extremely closely, watch that extremely closely, and prepare accordingly. So what am I doing? I'm still buying the dips and taking profit at the tops in this little range. While the market is just going sideways, while not, quote unquote, not much is happening, what I'm doing, I'm going in and I'm buying the lows, I'm selling the highs. As you all know, I have been consistently accumulating throughout this whole year, even into last year. While everything has been janky and weird, I have been buying every time we dip, and I've been taking profit every single time we pump. So while everybody else is kind of just complaining right now, while everybody else is just worried right now, while they're just sitting on the sidelines, either slightly gaining, slightly losing, or not really gaining or losing at all, we have been consistently locking in profits for almost 7 months straight now, accumulating the lows, selling the tops, and playing the game as the game was meant to be played, okay? And that's what we're going to continue to do until something happens, until one of those decisions are made that opens up the door for us to really start making some moves. So I'll continue to do that. Guys, do not forget that if you want even more content from me on what's happening in the market, what's happening on the charts, you can go follow me on Instagram at TylerHillYT_, which is linked down below. You can start trading today over on BTCC with the link down below. You can go download the crypto playbook today with the link down below. And if you have enjoyed today's 30-minute altcoin analysis and deep dive, please do let me know by smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel, and go into the comments and letting me know if you want more of these, maybe twice a month, every week, something like that. I've never really done a video like this before, so let me know if you did enjoy it, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.